Hi, my name is Bruno Sade from brunosade.com, and today I want to talk about a question that sometimes comes up, both for myself personally, but also with my clients. That is, when we have an argument or a fight with a loved one, and they did or they said something that we feel was wrong or somehow disrespectful to us, are we supposed to just tap away our anger towards them? To tap away whatever anger was triggered in us? And if that is the case, isn't that kind of enabling them to continue with that behavior or somehow letting them off the hook, pretending like nothing bad happened? So I don't have a definitive answer to that, but I do want to share my current thoughts on the matter, which is the following. According to a book I've been reading called The Language of Emotions by a woman called Karla McLaren, one of the reasons why anger can sometimes show up is when somehow something was done that was disrespectful in some way to ourselves or to something or someone we care about. So when that happens, anger arises, and there are basically three ways that we can deal with that anger. One is to try to pretend like nothing happened and to kind of sweep the anger under the rug. And that tends to create some problems because it tends to breed resentments towards ourselves or the other person. On the other hand, another way to deal with that anger is to express it in such a way where we lash out aggressively at the other person. And this tends to only escalate the conflict, and people end up increasingly hurting each other more and more. Kind of like that saying that goes an eye for an eye and we all end up blind. And the third way is going to vary according to each situation, but it's basically using our anger to energize our boundaries so that we can acknowledge that what the other person didn't feel okay to us, but to do so in a respectful way, not in an aggressive way. Now, coming back to the original question, when we have an argument or a fight with a loved one and they did or said something that hurt us or that we consider it was disrespectful or wrong in some way, do we want to just tap that anger away? And I would say that no, not necessarily so. But still, there are ways that EFT can help us process that anger or do something different or do something more empowering about this anger. And one of the reasons why this is so is that when we are triggered by a certain situation, there's part of that anger, in this case, which is the emotion we are talking about, there's part of this anger that has to do with the current situation, with the present moment situation. But there's another part that has to do with unhealed or open wounds from our past. So if we start tapping on the recent fight or argument we had with the other person, or even imagining the next time that it might happen, and we start tapping on that, on the different aspects within, for example, their facial expression, their tone of voice, a certain phrase that they said that was triggering to us. Sometimes as we start tapping on this, what tends to happen is that other memories might show up. They might be memories involving the same person that we are arguing with, or they might be with someone else, whether it's a parent, a sibling, a friend, an ex-romantic partner. And also, when we start tapping on the event of this argument, we can also ask ourselves, does this remind me of anything? Or also, what do I believe? Or what does this situation, this argument mean about myself, about them, about our relationship? So a few examples might be, I'm never listened to, I'm always misunderstood, she or he don't care about me, I'm gonna end up alone, etc. Those memories of the past, those open or unhealed wounds from our past, and those negative beliefs add an extra layer of hurt to the current fight or argument that's going on. So when these beliefs come up or when these memories come up, if we can somehow diminish or release the emotional charge around these beliefs and around the specific memories that support these beliefs, we are then going to be better able to look at the present moment situation without our perspective being so tainted by those open wounds from the past. And therefore, these current arguments or fights with our loved ones can present to us an opportunity to bring some healing or some compassionate attention to some of these events from the past. And I think then we are going to be better able to somehow access that third option when it comes to dealing with anger, which is not to sweep it under the rug and pretend like nothing happened, not to lash out aggressively at the other person, but to somehow let them know that what they did didn't feel okay to us, and trying to explore what was their unmet need, what is our unmet need, if any, and find some way to deal with the current issue. So that's it for today. I hope this was useful, and I look forward to seeing you again in one of my next videos.